What if Malfoy was in Gryffindor?
Gryffindor!
What if, in that very first moment, the Sorting Hat had shouted Gryffindor instead of Slytherin? Have you ever really thought about what could have happened? Would he and Harry have become rivals? Or best friends? Would Draco still seek power? Or finally understand courage? In this alternate reality, everything changes. The Golden Trio might have become four. Snape's favoritism wouldn't be so simple. Lucius Malfoy's pride might collapse entirely. And what if, just what if, Draco had been the one standing beside Dumbledore instead of plotting behind his back? In the next few minutes, we'll explore a Hogwarts reshaped by one unexpected choice. Fan theories, character shifts, broken alliances, and a new path toward the final battle. This isn't just a change of house. It's a change of heart, legacy, and the fate of the wizarding world. Let's open the doors to a version of Harry Potter you've never seen before. At first, everything about Draco Malfoy felt out of place in Gryffindor Tower. The arrogance, the smug glances, the name. Harry, Ron, and Hermione kept their distance. Old grudges were hard to shake, even if this version of Draco had never insulted Ron's family, never called Hermione mudblood, never turned their first meeting into rivalry. Still, the shadow of the Malfoy name lingered in every hallway. But something was different. Draco wasn't surrounded by Slytherins who echoed his superiority. He was surrounded by students who stood up for each other, who challenged him, argued with him, cared about him. And that started to change him. It didn't happen overnight. There were awkward silences in the common room, sharp words at breakfast tables, but there were also shared detentions, duels fought side by side, and one snowy Christmas where Draco gave Hermione a book she didn't expect him to understand. Little by little, the mask slipped. Harry saw it first, in the way Draco flinched when Lucius Malfoy's name came up. Ron noticed it during Quidditch practice when Draco passed instead of showing off. Hermione, always watching, recognized something deeper. A boy who had been taught pride before kindness, and who was now learning both in equal measure. By the end of their second year, the distance between them had shrunk. Not just classmates, not just reluctant allies, friends. And in Draco Malfoy's case, maybe for the first time in his life, that word meant something real.
News spreads quickly, even in the wizarding world. And when it reached Malfoy Manor that Draco had been sorted into Gryffindor, it hit harder than any curse. For Lucius Malfoy, it wasn't just disappointment. It was betrayal. His son, born into a legacy of pureblood pride, ambition, and centuries-old tradition, now wore red and gold. Letters came, cold and furious. Strict warnings, demands to correct this mistake, threats to pull Draco from Hogwarts altogether. But Draco didn't write back. For the first time, he questioned the weight of the name he'd spent his whole life carrying. He began to see the cracks in the world his father built on fear, status, and power through control. At school, whispers followed him. Some Slytherins sneered behind his back. Others watched him with suspicion, unsure if he was a traitor or just lost. Even some Gryffindors held their guard. Could a Malfoy ever truly belong? Yet Draco stayed. Because here, he was beginning to feel something he never had at home. Choice. He didn't have to recite pure-blood ideals. He didn't have to prove his worth through cruelty. In Gryffindor, he could be brave, and being brave meant standing up not just to enemies, but to expectations. Lucius's disgrace became Draco's liberation, and while the Malfoy name began to fracture in public, Draco quietly began to build something new in private, an identity not built on legacy, but on who he chose to become.
In a world where the Sorting Hat made a different choice, Draco Malfoy walked a path no one expected. Not as a bully, not as a coward, but as a boy who faced his family's shadow, and chose to step into the light. His journey in Gryffindor didn't erase his past, but it rewrote his future. Through friendship, conflict, and courage, Draco didn't just change houses, he changed himself. And maybe that's the bravest thing anyone at Hogwarts ever did. If this story made you see Draco in a new light, if it made you wonder how different things could have been, hit the like button to show your support. Subscribe for more epic what-if scenarios from the wizarding world and beyond. And let us know in the comments, which Harry Potter character do you think deserved a different fate? Because in Popcornverse, every choice rewrites the story.